Well, what up, everybody? How you doing on this Saturday day? How you feeling today and how you will be next day? I don't know. I just asked the question, but I have to throw that out there because you never know what the future holds. And for me, I didn't know what to hold when I went to the movies yesterday and saw two films that I didn't think, or I put it like this, didn't know what to expect from them, which is saying a lot because the movies that we're seeing today are pretty much crap, and more crap. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just done with Hollywood. But I got to say, thankfully, there are times where there is a gem in the or diamond in the rough that comes along and actually does pure justice. Early this year, we had Sinners, which blew me out of the water. Just totally took it, and I mean, it lets me know that there's some creativity, that there's something there that someone's willing to do to make something different. Well, with that being said, I recently went to see two superhero films, which are by both DC and Marvel, and well, both of them been slacking, and both of them is, as someone would say, it's superhero fatigue, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm happy to say that the films that we're going to be talking about, because I wanted to do both of these films, the films we're going to be talking about are the newest Superman film that's done by James Gunn for DC, and the Fantastic Four First Steps, which is an addition to the MCU. And I have to say, with all these things being done, you just don't know what's going to come up in terms of, is this going to work? Is this going to not work? I don't know. I mean, because let's be honest, we have no idea what's going to work. We have no idea. It's just things happen for a reason, and if it gels together, fine. But if it doesn't gel well, eh, just pass it on. Well, I have to say, these two films, and I'm going to go through them both talking about it. I have to say, both of these films surprisingly, surprisingly entertained me, which is what I want, which is what I need, which is what I wanted to give me. Entertain me and not make me feel like this is what this is, this is what this all about. I was like, no, I go into a movie theater, and expect to be well digested. Well, I can say right now, I was very well digested by both these films. And had it not been, I was like, well, there we go again, not just DC and Marvel, but Hollywood just not doing much of anything. But surprisingly, these two films, both superhero films, really hit the ground running. And you're gonna have your own dismay about what you feel about certain films. I mean, everyone's got their opinion, and they should have their opinion about what they feel about a film. But me personally, I was so enthralled with the fact that this film and the other one did justice for me, and I'm so glad that they did, because I'm like, okay, we got a new Superman film. It's like, okay, what's it going to be? And James Gunn, given his credit, he's done very well with films that he's done. I mean, but would this be any different in terms of, you know, a waste of time with Hollywood? But surprisingly, it did. And as far as Fantastic Four, same difference. I'm just like, we've seen we've seen, well, let's be honest, we've seen two versions of it back in the 200s, about in the 2000s, and we saw one remade in the teens. And well, I'll put it like this. This is gonna sound almost heresy. The two ones that were done in the teens were actually done a little bit better than the one in the teens. in the 2000s. I'm talking about the one in the 2000s did better than one in the teens. Let's just say it like that. So, with that being said, let's get into the review of what we're talking about here. The first one, which I went to go see, the first because they came out first, was Superman, which was originally called Superman Reborn, but someone got the bright idea. Well, let's just call it Superman, you know. And I got to say, James Gunn. I have to say, James Gunn did a pretty good job of making this film as entertaining and as very, very. I mean, it's like I give you this. One thing about James Gunn with anything when it comes to doing films, he's like Josh Whedon. He puts a lot of humor and very serious undertones into his film. I mean, but with James Gunn, I think he does it a little bit better, in my opinion. The reason I say he does it better, he adds humor to serious situations, but he can bring the really emotional moments in there into something. I mean, the three Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I have to say, I was not expecting a lot. And the one that got me the most was the second one, where he put a lot of emotion into the moments where, you know, Star-Lord, Quinn, finds out what he's been looking for as far as family. It's like it's always been there. It's just that he wasn't been looking in the right place. And it was like, dude, I got so emotional when I see this. And I have to say, there's a moment in this movie that really touched a nerve with me, probably because it's between two people, which is, in fact, I won't give too much spoilers away. I'll just say that it's between two parties, and one says to the other one about, you shouldn't let what someone else says you should be. You decide who you want to be. And I got to say, when that person said this to him, I was just like, boy, and you might know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say outright, but it was just a little bit of scenery, but it was enough to get you invested in knowing that, wow, that's hitting hard, and like I said, I got emotional hearing this, but at the same time, this movie is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's only 2 hours and 9 minutes long, but it's a lot of fun. And it's no lot of filters. I mean, there is character development in this sense, in the time allotted, but it's very well made, Now, I will say that is a friend of mine, Mr. Kevin Lambert, has said on Entertainment Headquarters. He mentioned that it's almost a extended version of the WB Superman, with Smallville and all Green Arrow. It kind of feels like that, but because it has a lot of characters. It has Hawk Girl, it has Green Arrow, it has Green Lantern, and it has Mr. Terrific. But I think James Gunn is able to put him in pretty well. I mean, he does. In fact, there's a small character cameo in here, which I'm not going to mention. I will not mention it because it almost makes me think this is canon with this, But you have to watch the film to find out what I'm talking about. And incredible thing is, like I say, it's very well made, in terms of the action and the with the humor, with the emotion that you have. And it turns out, something that Superman says that which is I always feel, and that's the thing I feel about this Superman version. Not to say that Christopher Reeves wasn't any good, because Christopher Reeves is kind of in line with this one. He's more human than humans are. than most Earthlings. I mean, he's an alien, but he has a much emotional gravitas of what it means to be human. He makes mistakes. He's going to get mad. He's going to get sad. He's going to be happy, but he owns up to what he is, which is, like I say, I am a superhero. But as a superhero, do that mean I have all the answers? No, you're not God. I mean, he might have the powers of a God, but he's not God, you know. And he knows this. He's only human. And he realizes this. He recognizes this. That's why people keep putting this banner on, thinking like, yeah, he can do all these amazing things, but you got to stop and think. He only has enough in his reservoir as far as emotion mentally to do the things he does. He has the strength, but he has the tenacity to know that I know I'm going to make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. And this particular Superman is way more jovial, way more, courageous, more energized in terms of emotion. I love that. I love that in this movie. And the guy that's playing him, David, Corn Corn, Sweet. I guess that's the name. Anyway, um, now he's definitely does a good job with this, and the other players that like Lois Lane, played by if I can find it here, yeah, Rachel Rosenhan. She I got to say she does a good job as a Lois. I was gotta say, huh. I mean, the Lois on Smallville, she seems way too. I mean, I know Lois is a very eccentric character, but sometimes you got to dial it down a little bit. But I guess that's for TV. But we don't really know. But all in all, this film is one of those films that surprised me. And I mean, I have heard criticism about with the suit, with people in there and everything. And that's okay. You have your opinion. You should stick with that. But all in all, I feel that this film is very well made. It's very well made. It's very good. It's not going to be for everybody. I will say that it will not be for everybody. But all in all, and I'll give my rating with it when I do when I finish with the other film, which is Fantastic Four. I would just say go see it for chucks and giggles, and if you want to be entertained, go watch this film. You might be surprised. It might surprise you enough to say this is a pretty good film, and you'll have a good time with it. And I feel DC. I mean, yeah, DC did a good job with this film. I mean, and I say that right there with James Gunn, he took something and made it his own, and I give him props for that. So, with that being said, we move on to Marvel and their iteration into another superhero film with the introduction of their Fantastic Four. Now, as I mentioned before, wow, that was okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, we've all seen versions of this characterization of this group many times, and some have been much better than others. Other ones have been, well, we'll just leave it at that. And I had to say, this film here is another example of like, is this going to be what it is? I mean, will it be what it is? I don't know. I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Well, I will say that this film surprised me just as much. It did, because a friend of ours, Gojira 851, Matt, he pretty much said that this film, he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed this film, and I'm just like, well, that's all I need to know. I mean, if it was a negative about it, it's like, okay, I mean, I'll go watch it for myself just to see what it is. But to his credit, very good film, very entertaining. And one of the things I like, and this film is less than 2 hours long, it's like an hour and 55 minutes. It really does a good job of characters in this film, I have to say. Whether it be the Fantastic Four themselves, or the female version of the Silver Surfer, which is something surprisingly. Oh, wow. I knocked myself over. Sorry about that. That was unintentional, but that's okay. Anyway, it was something of a amazing development of the film. And one of the good things I will say about this film is a lot of the stuff that was shown in the trailers, the few that they showed, thankfully they did not show in this final version of the film, because that's one thing I swear with advertising, they put too much in the trailers, enough to leave something to whet people's appetite for what their main entree is going to be. And Fantastic Four is no different. There's some subplots, characters, or even issues that go on that you do not expect, but when you show them, it's like, wow, that's what this. Because we already know that the main villain of this film is Galactus. We know this, and I got to say, Galactus looks badass in this film. He looks badass, dude. He looks so comic book accurate in this film. I'm like, I love this. I love it. So it's a great change knowing that we see Galactus in his final form, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful, you know. Um, and I gotta say, to a part, this film takes a little few elements from the second uh, 2007 Fantastic Four, which is the Rise of the Silver Surfer. There's some elements in that one that's in this one, but I think they do a better job with the telling of the tale of certain things in the film. So it really, and I will say this, because a friend of mine asked me, this same person, Kevin Lambert, asked me, which do you feel is better film, Superman or First Steps? Okay, I really can't, and I told him the same thing. I mean, I try to really say which one can say I can say is better. I really can't say. And I will say this, because Fantastic Four, it does have some action sequences, but they do not focus on the action that much as they do in Superman. Um, it's more character development in there, which I feel is a good thing because it gives you a chance to get to know the characters. But when the action does come and arise, it's like it's a great payoff, which I love about that. So each one has their pluses and their minuses, but I can't really pick which one is better than the other one. I can't do that. I mean, it's crazy as that sounds. It seems like I can easily say Superman is a little bit better than Fantastic Four, but then it's like, well, Superman. I mean, Fantastic Four has elements on there that Superman does not have that I feel is much better than that is. I can't really pick. I can't. I mean, I can say I can say I'm biased, but at the same time, I can only say that whoever does watch this film, you have to take it with a grain of salt, the decision of what is better in your mind's eye. I mean, I can't do it. What I will say is that both these films, crazy as this is, that's one subplot that I'll give away, but I won't say was involving. Both these films deal with the notion of black holes. Okay. And it's kind of funny because it's like, wow, I'm watching one that deals with a black hole, and then comes in this other film. It's like, and it deals with a black hole. It's like, and they're two different films. So I'm like, what's going on here? It's like that's kind of weird, But they're both they're both unique in their own way, and I love them for that. So I couldn't say anything more about this film. I mean, about these films, as far as giving away, too much in terms of, how can I say, spoilers. But I'm not going to give spoilers away. I feel like I want individuals who watching to go see it for themselves and make your own judgment on it. Because I feel that, as I say again, these both films are very entertaining. And as far as the pros, they they give good development in terms of characters and everything. Both films, they're different studios. The cons, um, I guess it's tropey in terms of what they do, in terms of what they're going with. As far as that, because there are tropes in this film. There are some, but some of them do better than others, that I feel. You know, and I mean, I won't say, like I say, I won't get too much because it would give away spoilers as far as that goes. So, with that being said, what are the ratings for the films, Superman and Fantastic Four: First Steps? Well, Superman, I will give. Um, I'm pretty much going to give the same rating as both of them. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give this a 9. I'm gonna give this a 9. Superman gets a 9 for me, and the same with the Fantastic Four. It gets a 9. Okay, I feel that, and just to say that the both films have great effects. I feel the effects in both films are, there's some chunky ones, moments in there, but they do great at the what they do in terms of the effects and the story and everything, and I feel it hits home, and that's just my opinion on it, and I feel like whatever comes next in the DCU or the MCU, hopefully they can follow suit with these films and try not to be in such a rush for competition, because you can coincide with one another. These films can coincide with one another. I mean, these studios. I mean, but studios, you know how they are. That's just how it is. But hey, that's being said, I mean, that is my review for both Superman and Fantastic Four: First Steps. Hopefully, you all will go to see it and enjoy it for yourselves, and take it upon yourself to say, hey, just go in there and have a good time with it. Just do that. I mean, Hollywood should try to make more films to entertain, but they're more on a political spectrum as it goes. But and to just add on to what I got coming up. I've got an unboxing that's going to be coming up in another week or two, but that's going to be in a week or two. And in future reference, I'm hoping to have a project done with some people that hopefully will come to light, but I have to find out what their time frame is and everything. And as far as that goes, it won't be too much going on next month because, like I said, unlike the unboxing, I'm pretty much busy at work. So because it's going to be the first month of the school coming in, and kids are going to be, and we're going to be rushing back and forth, back and forth. So I'm not going to be really busy doing this. So it'll probably be at the tail end of August or the beginning of September where I will get back in the feel of doing stuff here. So. But hey, with that being said, I thank you for watching. I thank you for your patience and what you're doing in watching this. Hopefully, like I say, you go see Superman and Fantastic Four for yourselves, and you won't be disappointed. So, with that being said, then I always close out with saying, y'all take care, y'all be patient, and always keep the film legacy alive. Y'all take care now.